Welcome to Crafts of Ireland on YouTube, and today we're going to introduce you to our latest kit that we're adding to our website. And this one is called Tranquil Ireland. It's a nice countryside picture with some sheep, a river and some trees in it. So again, I'm going to open up the kit, show you exactly what you should receive, and then we'll take you through to make the picture. And this is the sample picture for this kit, and this is what we will have when we finish making. So in the kit, we have added for you a little thank you gift. And this is some of our blue-faced Leicester locks from our neighbour's farm that are dyed, and you can use them for making flowers in some of your other pictures if you want to keep felting. Again, 3 needles, and they're in corrugated cardboard. Our QR code for to access quickly our YouTube channel. Again, our piece of fabric and a nice foam mat that you can reuse. And then all the fibres that we're going to need, which I'm going to line up here beside me to make our picture. So that's everything that you will need. Just need to have a sharp scissors. Everything else that you need is included in the kit. So this is the picture that we're going to make. And again, as I've said in some of my previous videos, no 2 pictures ever look exactly the same. So we're going to make as near to this as we can. So I'm just going to take one of our needles. These needles are a 36 triangle needle, and they're a medium weight needle. And the only thing you have to remember with your needle is to work straight up and straight down, and then your needle won't break. Don't be tempted to lift fibres with it or do anything else with it. Just use it straight up and straight down. First thing we need to do is make our sky. I always start at the back of a picture. Again, hold the fibres under your left hand if you're right-handed, and just give them a little pull across the top. There's some nice mixes through this blue, so it's going to give a bit of variation in your sky colour. We're going to open them up and just lay them out nice. There's a little bit of darker blue there. Again, just to pull them gently, just open them out. You don't want to break them. Lay them down. That adds an extra bit of colour to the sky. And we'll use this piece is almost white with some blue tips. Again, open up the fibres and lay them down. So when we have, that's a tip there, I'm just going to spread that. So that's our sky in place. If we want, we can add a little bit of white over it just to make it a little more cloudy looking. And because it's natural fibre from our own sheep, sometimes you will get a little bit of vegetation in it. Take your needle and working in whatever order you want. I normally work up and down across the fibres, tack them into place. I think it's easier to work in straight lines. It gives you a better idea. In that, I can see where I have a few spots that just need a little bit more fibre. I'm just going to open another little bit and lay them where it looks a little light. And felt them in as well. And because our picture has a valley in it, I'm going to bring an extra bit down in the centre. So there we go. First part is done. And that's just a wee bit there. That's our sky complete, and we still have plenty of blue. So the next thing then is I always like to put some hills in the distance, something to give a little bit of perspective to your picture. So this is Shetland wool. It's from some Shetland breeders in the west of Ireland. So I'm going to lay that in the shape of a hill and curve it and just tack the top of it down in place like that. And just run in my hills. You just want a small bit of hill showing in the distance. You can felt that in quite tight because you want it to almost disappear to the back of your picture. And an extra little bit there. And we have another hill on the other side. If you want to add some variation to the colour, you can always take a tiny bit of green, put it through the grey, mix the two together, and you create another shade that you can use. So again, to blend, pull the fibres out and lay them back on each other, and you can see how they've mixed well together. And we're going to put that one down on that side. I can notice that I keep my fibres straight. I run them in the direction that I want the hills to go. And you can see when you've mixed the colours, the variation of shade that gives. It's a little bit weak in the center, so again, just add in a tiny bit more fiber. And then we're coming in with some of our softer colors, so a variation of different browns, greens that you can add. And I like to lay my fibers down, not open them too much for this part, but lay them in the direction that I want the hill to appear that it's running. So all my fibers are going to lie in that direction. So you can see where some of these have different colors in the tips. Add a little bit of different greens through them. And there's plenty of different shades of green in it. This just gives some variety and variation in the colors. And load them up. Nice soft greens coming to the front. Again, just open up the tips a little bit. Don't have to open them too much. Get that mix of colors. That's on that side. We can put in a bit of grey as well if we want to add some rocks. So we're just going to tack that in quickly. Again, I always felt hills in the direction that I want them to run in. I'll just put in a little bit of a boulder there at the bottom. I'm just going to work around the edge of it. I don't want to felt the center of it too tight. It just gives us I'm going to add some extra darker, duller green up at the top. And extend that hill out a little bit. And again, just lay your greens down. It's an even brighter colour. If I want to put some extra colour going up, then I'll take some of the brown and just lay it over the green. That's our right hand side done, and then we repeat and just change it slightly in shade for the left hand side coming down. I'm going to use a different green at the top. I just want to run up almost to my hill but leave it shown at the back. So I'm putting in some of this duller, darker green. And I'm leaving the darker bits because I want them to add a little bit of variation in colour. And then put again some of the browns through it. And the lighter colours. You can see when you lightly layer them over each other, the way that the different shades come through. And we're coming down to the front of it so we can come in with the lighter colours again. We'll go with this bright green. A bit of the darker green, a little bit of brown maybe over it. Even come in with some of the other green. Just gives a nice blend of colours. And you see I'm just taking the colours and using different variations just to give the tones of a mountainy hillside. I'm laying them down in the direction of the hill. So really quickly, that's our background, and you can see the angles that the fibres are running in to indicate the slope on the hill. So now we're going to start adding some detail. The first thing I want to do is tidy up my lines at the top. So sometimes to give a bit more definition, I'll run a tight line of felton and I will tidy them up. Now we have still got a massive amount of green left. So I am going to come in now with some rocks around the edge of the river. So I just take a small little piece, make it into a very loose little ball, and I felt around the outside of it. I don't felt the inside of it because I want to leave it textured. And I'm just going to put a series of these up along what would be the bank of our river. As they get further away, obviously they're going to get smaller as well. And if you wanted to, you could felt some stone further out into the side of the hill. There's a rocky. I can add some extra bits. So we're coming down to our river. And I'm just quickly going to add. So we're going to take our stream kind of running down through the centre here. And I'm just outlining roughly where it's going to go with some of the grey. And further back, the rocks are going to get smaller. You can see roughly the line now that the water is going to take. So we'll finish the last one out here along the edge. And there we have our rocks coming down, and that's going to be the direction of our water. So again, just taking a tiny bit of blue, and I'm taking a very light shade of it. I'm going to start at the top because the water is going to disappear into the distance, and then I'm going to meander the water over and back between the rocks. Another bit. So the water is going to flow out to the edge of the rocks, so you want to bring the water between them and into any gaps that's in them. Tidy up all the fibres. We'll bring it slightly out here, just put a curve in it. And I'll just take a tiny bit of white and just to tone it down and just put that just to give a sense of flow on the water. Just gently put a little bit of white in it. Again, that disappears right back into the distance. You can see our river is now coming down through the centre of it. Completely different direction than the original one, but again, no pictures are going to be the same, so that's absolutely fine. And if we want, we can even put some more rock and stone on the other side of our river up along the bank. And the next thing on the original picture, I have what looks like some heather. So in our kit, there's some purple and some pink. Take a tiny bit of both, blend them together. And this is where you have to lay them down extremely lightly. So you're just taking almost like a cobweb of fiber, spread it out over the area that you want to show your heather in. Just loosely felt it over the area. I will take another little bit we've mixed. It takes the smallest. Now we put a little bit up on this side. Again, open it out really light. Whatever detail we're putting in on this side, we need to put in before we add the trees. So I'm going to take some of dark brown. And I'm just going to highlight the top of the hill with it. So it's like running just a fine thread of it. And then if we want to divide our hills, we can add another tiny bit. So you're taking just a few fibers and use them almost like a thread. I'm going to add an extra tiny bit of grey over that because it just looks a little bit nearer to the green. I'm just pulling the tiniest little bit over it. And just help tone it back a bit. And we're at it, we'll put a little piece on this side. So just take the end and gently pull the fibres out. Now, so we have our background done, and next we're going to add the trees. So for that we have dark brown, and it's nice natural chunky coloured. Again, take your fibre, just loosen it up and start at the bottom of the tree trunk. So you need whatever bit is going to be roughly the thickness of your trunk of your tree. So when it's twisted, it's going to be the correct diameter, and we can place that in our picture. I always start a tree at the bottom, felt it in, give it a little twist. Take your fibres then, and you can open them out to form the branches. And you can give them a little twist. Take another piece if you want. This one is going to have leaves on it, so we just have to put in a loose skeleton for a tree. And this is where we need a scissors. We might need to trim these if they're too long. We have a second tree in this picture, so we're going to add it now. Again, take a piece of fibre. Keep the fibres running nice and straight. Side where it's going to be, we'll place it a little higher in the picture. Again, with a twist. And just felting along the outside of the trunk of the tree. We don't want to felt the centre because we want to give it that look of being a nice round trunk. And then as we come up, again, we take fibres and divide them off into our branches. That branch can overlap on the other one. And it's coming up too high at the top. We'll cut that. And if we want to add another branch just to give it a bit more brown coming through, And then taking the darkest of the greens that are in the box, I'm going to take this one, and with a scissors, I'm just going to chop about 1/4 of an inch, centimetre long, and we can take another shade of dark green if we want, just to add some more texture to it. So that should be more than enough for both our trees. I want to spread them. Mix the two colours through it. And take the needle and felt those loosely into place. Just stray bit there. You don't want to felt them too heavily because you want to keep some texture. And you just might add a little bit more. And that's this stage you can decide if it needs some more. So we'll add some of this green because there's less of it. And there we have the two trees. So you can vary the shape of them. They're never going to be the same. No two trees are identical. So you can vary the shape of your tree, the length of your trunk, depending on where it is located. In an open, windy, windswept place, it's going to be bending to one side. So I think I'm happy with that. And to make the trees look like they belong in the landscape, you want to add something to the bottom of them. Add an extra little rock. You can add a little bit of green, so I've got some of this brown. I'm just going to take some and if you are putting down grasses, you can use the length of the stem, pointed length of the fibre pointing up to give you a stem, like, and maybe a little bit of green. I just want to make them look like they belong in the landscape and that they didn't just land into the picture. And I'm going to add an extra rock just on this side of this one. There we go. Now all we have left to add is our two sheep, and then we can add any little finishing touches that we want. So for the sheep, I have some white. You can see just how much of every colour is left. There's the green, there's our blues, that's our heather, that's the trunk of the tree, that's our grey for the rock, that's some more green. It's a good idea to keep your colours separate, and then you can work with them again and create another picture. So to make our sheep, I'm just going to pull from this a lock of white fibre, and there is a separate video that just shows how to make a sheep on our YouTube channel. There's also another video that just shows how to make a sheep, so if you just want a quick video on either of those, you can pop into them. Our sheep nearest to us is bigger, so we can start with a bigger piece of fibre. So there's roughly what I've rolled up, but it's going to get smaller when we felt in. So I shape it into a little wool sausage so that the fibres are running in the vertical in the direction that they would be on a sheep. Then I start and I work quickly around the edge. I want the sheep to be nice and full and fluffy, so I don't want to felt into the center of the sheep. I'm just leaving an indent for a back leg. I'm going to tuck in all of that. And at all times, I'm working my needle straight, even though I'm going in at an angle. My arm and everything has moved, so to make sure the needle is working straight. And we need a little bit of the darker colour we use for the trunk of the tree to make a head, and that's a little triangle. I'm just taking some of the darkest of it. Colours will vary that come in the kits depending on each die lot that we do, because every one of them is going to be different. So sheep has a little triangular head. Take a small piece and felt the bottom of their head first. Get that to the size you want. And again, take the scissors, trim slightly above it, and both of them pieces can be opened up to give the sheep some ears. And they can be standing if you want. So just again, take small pieces and felt in a little leg. Sheep's leg is quite thin. You get a front leg. I sometimes roll them slightly just to keep the fibres together. And then if you want to highlight your sheep, just take a bit of the dark fibre, run it around the edge of it. And in at the side of the leg just to show definition. I'm just tidying up the ears and tucking this end in a little better. And then for a smaller sheep, you don't need as much definition, so take a small piece of white. Again, roll it up. That sheep is further away, so it's going to be a little bit smaller. And another little bit of the darker colour for its face. And that's perfect for that shape. So then if you want, you can take a little bit of the very fine brown and put it around the rocks just to give them a little bit more definition. So you could just run around the edge of the rocks, and that helps to highlight them slightly. Now this is the quickest that we can make the video for you, that you're not spending too long watching us. If you're doing it yourself, you can take more time and be a little bit more precise with all of your details. And that is our picture. Again, as I said, there's none of them ever going to be the same. It's quite similar to the original one, so you can put your own twist on it and make it unique and make it yours. So that's it. We have just created our Tranquil Ireland picture. Thank you for watching our video, and we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make our Tranquil Ireland needle felted picture scene. If you like what we do in these videos, please give us a follow. We're always adding more. And if you want to buy the kit, which is made from using our own sheep's wool, please head over to our website.